Okay. Yep, we're cooking. We're cooking with the gasoline. Ooh. All right. So here is the page that I posted today. It is from a suggestion from Jim L. And the suggestion is a tribute band to a tribute band. So, yeah, had a little bit of fun with this one. But got a little bit carried away, and then I forgot to put the makeup on the characters, so I'm going to go back and fix that after, and yada yada yada. But yeah, there you go. So yeah, this was a fun page to do. I'm I'm still kicking out and putting out a bunch of the one-page stories. I haven't been here for a little bit, largely because I've been otherwise engaged, and so there's a bunch of pages that I don't know if I've shown or not, but the last so many pages are Put Your Phone Down and Lady of the Stars. This is a pen, orange pen, brown pen, white pen on a yellow paper. This is orange marker, red pen on a white piece of paper. This is Dog Purses penciled and then digitally colored. Hiya, Linda. Hiya, Tim. And then Surviving the Apocalypse is also drawn in pencil and then digitally inked and colored as well. So, and then what's today's? Today's the Bay City Rollers and Kiss. This is the tribute band. Kissy Kissy Turners. I don't know why. Get it? Rollers, Turners. Anyways, so that's this page for today. This week's pages, at least so far. So I have been making origami. I made a hat. Well, it's a boat. I just stopped halfway across. Anyhow, yeah, I've been making origami little boats for a weekend thing, and yeah, having a lot of fun with that. But I take my hat off, make it into a boat. But yeah, it's a lot of fun doing origami. It's something that I have never really done. So here's my hat. There's the hat shape of it. So I'm gonna just finish this off and I'll show you. There's a whole bunch of steps for this along the way, but anyways, this is fun. Origami is fun to do, and it's just something I've never actually applied myself to. But this is the third one I've made now, so I kind of get the beat. I kind of get the gist of it, and how does this go again? I think I gotta flip this up, and then fold it flat. I think that's it. Well, like I said, I kind of get the beat of it. I don't know that I entirely do, but we're working on it. Also, this is a kind of crazy piece of paper to be working on. So here is, I'll fold this just to make it nice and smooth-ish, and then there's our boat, big giant boat. So, yeah, it's a big boat, little boat. Anyways, so on the screen. So this is a study that I'm doing for a large image, and so this is I don't necessarily show too much of this sort of jazz on here, but this is the source. It's a picture by P.T. Tondo, and that's the title of it. It's P.T. Tondo. And Bargello is, I don't know who the creator of it is. I think it might just be Michelangelo. Oh yeah, Museo Nacional de Bargello. Okay, so Chris is an idiot. So yeah, so anyways, this is a study from that, and then trying a couple different things: pencil crayon, and then acrylic. And for the acrylic part of it, I used yellow, white, yellow, white, umber, and purple. Those are the 4 colors that I used for this. And yeah, kind of pleased with it. And then down below you can see in the bottom part here where I've got a square put around a rough illustrate, like a rough little scribble of the source images up in the corner, just to sort of say, were I to do this as this project for this 20 by 30 image, this is what I'd be doing it on. Okay, maybe I'm not talking loud enough. The mic's too far away. Sorry, Linda. There you go. Is this better? I hope this is better. Yeah. There we are. Yeah, I think it's registering a lot louder. So, yeah. So I've got a couple of different things on the go, and this is one of them. So I'm just trying out a bunch of different ideas, and I find that those drawings are lovely. Oh, thanks very much. I find that stepping outside of a wheelhouse of traditionally approaching storytelling, like if we're just set in this mode, this is how I tell stories. Great, but big old BUT. Yes, sounds good. Thank you. Okay, thank you. But it can be limiting. You know, it can be something that holds back from, you know, allowing ourselves that little bit of growth. So if we're always just, if I only draw in this very specific style, well, that's great, and that's well, and that's good. If you want growth, if you want to move beyond that creatively, and to try out different things and to incorporate different approaches, so you got to step out of that wheelhouse. So what I thought we might do today is I'm going to get out. So you can see here I've done a little focus on the mouth part because that's really interesting, the way the light works above the lips there. So I did a little extra study there. You know, studying this part of the face is all well and good with the black and white, but you know, if I'm going to do it in color, let's play with some color, which is why I came back at it again with the acrylic. Do I have... I'll show you the brush that I worked on it with. This is, because again, it's a large scale thing. So a large scale thing requires large scale brush. So I'll show you what I did. We got, I'm just grabbing a couple of other tools as well. Yeah, this will do. And then I'll bring the sharpener over. Okay, so I got a couple of mark making tools that we're going to do this next approach with. Anyhow, here's the brushes that I used. So these, you know, acrylic paint brushes that you find at the store, and you can get, you know, a number of different types of those. I'll show. Well, I shouldn't have sat down yet. I should have just grabbed my roll. This is a canvas roll, and what this is really handy. It looks just like a tube, but what's inside of it is the magic. So it's really handy for keeping a bunch of brushes on you. And it's just a piece of canvas. And then when you open it up, there you go. You have a range of brushes in order for you to use. There's some round ones. Okay, there's some flat ones. And a bunch of small ones for that fancy fine detail. And so when you're working on a large piece, you know, it's good to have this sort of assembly of brushes readily available for yourself. And, you know, you can put a strap through this, through the back of it here, and wear it on your hip if you need to. I need my tools handy. But it's just a handy way to carry your tools around. And of course you fold it over, and there's the Velcro that holds it tight, and you just roll it up, and they come with a string. My other one has a string that you, here, I'll show you the other one that's empty right now. Just because I took stuff out of it. So it gets a string, and you tie it around the outside edge with a string. I find the string to be annoying. But anyhow, there's a couple of those. So I've been doing a bunch of studies this week, and here's some more I'll show you. Here is, so this is Samson, and so here he is making a mess of things, and he's got the pillars, the columns that he's knocking down. He's tearing down the ceiling. So there's the pencil line art, and then so I did a quick color. Oops, I'm sorry. I put the pencil line art. There you go. You can see that. That's good. It works. And you can see that too. I didn't really need to move anything. Okay. So and then there's the color version where you it helps to sort of making a boat. So there he is putting tar pitch on the seams. So that's the moment I'm catching here, and he's looking over his shoulder. Is that rain? Is there rain coming? Is it too soon? Yep. And then this one is, and Lori's right. She's saying I need to fix the foreshortening on it because it just makes him look like a kid. But the intent for this one is here's the centurion, and there's the cross up in front of him. So this is there's the color version. There's the pencil version again. And it's the same as the normal one. So these are some of the studies that I've been doing this week. But there's real big benefit to doing studies on a large scale. And if you work large, and so this sketchbook is 18 by 24 inches is the size of this. So 1.5 feet by 2 feet. And the benefit of this, of working on a larger scale, is that it encourages you to kick outside of that comfort zone and to really allow your arm to move. It can really let your body gesticulate and share the area, share the volume of space that you have in front of you. So I've got a fresh piece of paper. Just going to flip this over. Flipped. And so I thought I'd do a quick sketch here on our large piece of paper. Let me find, I just knocked my clip off, and I have no idea where it went. It's gone. Gone to the ages. I have a little clip at the bottom of my sketchbook that keeps everything else smooth and nice and dandy. So that's gone. That's its own way. So so I've got this large scale surface here, and I'm gonna move this stuff over. So to start off with, I thought I'd do a quick study with I've got a piece of burnt umber Conte. It's a pastel pencil, anyways. And so I thought I'd do a quick something or whatnot of for this one. And again, doing it as a study allows me to learn from people that have, taken a moment or two and figured out some of the things that I'm working towards doing. So I can't see. My glasses are dirty and I can't see anything out of them. It's all right. Still got eyeballs. So here's our surface. And so what I'm going to do is I've got a picture of the prophet Jonah from the Sistine Chapel ceiling. And I'll show you it. I keep it over there on an easel. So there's what we're looking at today. And but keeping it free and out of your way is beneficial because it doesn't interfere with you working on your surface. So what I thought I'd do is use this tool. Okay, so this is like I'll show you what I just did. Sorry, it's out of camera. I made a mark, and then ooh, look at that. Smudges. Nice. So I'm going to do my little study on here. So I'm just finding a place to start from. And again, I'm not worried about this being dirty or messy like I did the pencils on the last one. You can see how the moisture seep through a little bit onto the paper. That's okay, we don't care. This is a sketchbook, it's a study place, right? So I'm following some of the lines and some of the shapes that are in the source image. In this case, a painting, a ceiling painting by Michelangelo de Buonarte. How do you say it? However you say it. And so I'm just cutting out shapes here, and we'll clean up and we'll tighten everything up soon after, but I just want to, now you can do all these lines and movements that lets you figure out the shape of the head and things like that. I'm just going for it. And it tends to be sloppier, and it tends to make me have to do editing as I go, but honestly, I'm relatively impatient, and so there's this part of me that just wants to get to the drawing part. So that's the way I work the way that I do. Yep, there you go. There's your fingers already. Linda says, hi to everybody in the balcony. Thanks, Linda. Linda, the moderator with the mostest. So we've got our ear in here. We've got the shape of the under part of the face. We've got the hairline moving up. Let's put the back of the head in. I want to study that fish as well, but I'll use a different set of tools for that. So it's kind of smudgy and dirty and fun. Now, one of the things I'm going to do with this one is play a little bit with, I might take some a white acrylic or gesso and come at this with cutting out shapes, cutting in negative shapes into the marks that we've put down. But studies and mechanisms for us to learn from, we don't need to be too concerned about the finish, the lovely finish that we want to go for, unless that's your whole beat is the finished product. Look at that. Ink on paper. Hi, how you doing? Welcome aboard. Yeah, it's Robert. So I'm just going to do the same thing as we did on the previous one that I showed. And if you're not sure, I don't know if you can, this is live. I don't know if you can see the previous thing. I'll try it here. Hold on. I'll just show it for those that are joining late. This is the first study that I've done on this large piece of, this large sketch pad. Let me get this board out of the way. It's not serving any purpose at all. And then, so there's our first study from Michelangelo's Pititondo, Mother and Child. And so we're just studying at the face. I'm far happier with the acrylic one than the pencil one. And then a quick assessment of if I'm going to do this as a finished drawing, 20 by 30 inch, right? So the one that we're working on now is the prophet Jonah. Jonah and the whale, my favorite stories. Okay, so yeah, here we go. So we've got this much put together so far, I think. Yeah, frame, good, making sure we're in frame. And thinking about scale, thinking about how things relate to each other. If this is this, is this is this. And the nice thing is about letting your arm and your wrist and everything move. Robert says, I have a niece named Denise and a nephew named a nephew. Oh, that's good. And an uncle named Buck. So I'm not doing a lot of complete marks as I'm going around here. I'm just finding, just sort of like chipping in the little shapes, the little marks of areas, rather than focusing too much on them, so that I can get everything put together in context with one another. And then we'll clean things up a little bit, you know, get it nice and tidy. So yeah. You can also use a blender for this, like a little blending. Do I have one nearby? Somewhere. I have a blender. There he is. Anyways, so, and blenders work just as well for softening those marks that you've made. I have the blender in my one end, and I'm still using my fingers there. It's all right. It's all right. We're all in it together, folks. So let's see. The face is going to come down here, down there. There we go. Am I missing stuff? Just making sure I'm not missing stuff. If I had a niece named Denise, I'd every time she told me something cool, I'd say Denoise. Yes, I am a nerd. So here's our next. So we're working on the face where the person is looking up this way in the space around them. Up, up, up. Keeping that a little dark. So I'm just following the main scope, the main part of the shapes. Seeing what that gives us, where that takes us. See, I'm going to change this already. These are erasers that I thought they were sculpting tools, and it turns out they're erasers. But it's really handy to have an eraser at the end of a pencil like that, or at the end of a stick, I guess. Wrong one. See, I put things down. Where are we at? Okay, just making sure I'm caught up with everybody. So this is a Derwent Pastel Burnt Umber P540, if you're interested in that kind of thing. And yeah, it does. I'm pretty good with it. I think I've got some more colors. We can try to jazz some more values in here. So now I'm going to take a moment and start picking and choosing out some of the shadows, some of the tones in our character. And then we'll start chopping some whites. Now we can do it a couple different ways. We can take it out with the eraser, or we can come in with some white gesso paint. I'm going to go and see if I can grab, if I have some other colored Contes here. I tend to appreciate the, there we go. What do I got in here? So, yeah, let's see. I got, oh no, that's just charcoals. I thought I had some other values. Maybe I don't. Maybe it's all in my mind. Yeah, okay, well, we tried. All ink clips, acrylic crayon sponges. Hold on, I'll grab one more thing. I've got some, I keep a couple of these in the studio. I don't know if other people do this. This is, these are handy little things for keeping smaller mark making tools around that you might have. Some rubber erasers and some Contes and some chalks, and it lets, and some crayons, and there's a graphite stick in here. So what these let you do by having a box like this is it lets you keep handy some tools for you to try different things at a whim and to mix and match these things, but not have to be overwhelmed. So I've grabbed a gray and a sepia piece of Conte here, and we'll start incorporating that jazz. Let's see what I got here. That's that. There's a brown pencil, a black pencil. We'll bring those in play too. Okay, so so having these different mark making tools kicking around enables us to try some different stuff, right? Right. And so I'm going to try to feel out some of the values in the face that we're drawing with this sepia and see what this gives us. Well, I'm going to put these down over here and use this blender. Otherwise, I'm going to be completely coated in Conte chalk. Yeah. So I've got the sepia and the umber together now. If anybody has anything they want to suggest for one-page stories, you're always welcome to do so. I'm going to figure out a way to incorporate this into a one-page story. Maybe a whale of a tale, who knows? If anybody has suggestions of, I don't know. See, there I go with my finger again. It's nice because you can cover a large area in a short amount of time and material this way. Here's a couple of quick ways to get large areas filled out. It's just using a blending stick and some kind of Conte chalk, charcoal. I've got a container here someplace, and it's, oh, here it is. And it's an entire thing of, this is charcoal powder. So if you're doing a large scale image, I mean like a large image, and you want to really cover a large area in black without a lot of muss and fuss, charcoal powder is pretty good for that. And it is incredibly messy. Where did I put that? So, you know, something to think about anyways. Okay, so let's see. So I'm following this light source. We're going to tighten up this in a little bit. Put some little hit of white inside of here. I have, strange enough, I have to go get new glasses tonight. We're just, Lori and I are due for new glasses. You're gonna love them. I walked into the place. It's the same place that we got our glasses last time, and I said, "Do you have on file what I ordered last time?" And they said, "Yes." And I said, "I will take those, please. Thank you. Here's my updated prescription." That is Christopher selecting glasses. These ones work? Good enough. Let's go. Well, these work as in the prescription works. So that's what Lori and I are going to be doing tonight. Okay, so here's the start of our figure coming in here, and then there's some. I'm just going to use the sepia for the moment. It's a gray in the hair, but you know, this is what we're using. I've got a gray Conte here that I'm going to cut in here with in a second, but I just want to keep this uniformly moving throughout. Where's that gray now? Let's see what this does for us. So the one side of my blending stick is pretty covered in that sepia tone, so that's the beauty of these things having two sides. So now I can start to put in some value into it. So I'm trying to figure out what to do for these large drawings that I've been asked to do, and just trying to think about what I could possibly do for those. So I'm trying out a couple different things towards the theme. Now I'm going to come in with my handy dandy doodly-doo, and I'm going to try to put some, or cut some value out. While I'm doing that, I'm also doing this. I take an eraser and I go at it with my blending stick, and I try to get off a lot of the excess. Okay, so let's see. Let's start to come in here now and start to find some of those light areas. Just to pull back a little bit in a couple of spots. Sort of keeps us on an even keel about where we're going with the image, with the drawing. Not to say that we're not going to put stuff back down on it. This is what I was talking about earlier with coming back into that nose and cutting some shape back out of it again. Messy process, but there we go. So hopefully that's starting to look like it's got form and a little bit of shape to it. You know, we can clean up all around the face if we want now. The page is not going to be clean, let's be honest. All right, so I've got this brown pencil that I found, and I'm going to sharpen him up a little bit. Hopefully this is a decent enough size for people. Hello, there is Liz on Laz's phone. How's everyone doing? Hi, Liz. Hi, Laz. We're doing okay. Anybody wants to say hi to Liz, please feel free to do so. Yeah, see, this pencil's kind of chunky. Let's put aside that junky pencil and grab this Revelry pencil crayon and see what it's going to do for us. Oh, look at that. My goodness. We're finding some of the little emphasis points right now. So one of the things I didn't clearly define earlier was the mouth and the teeth. The volume is quiet. Hi, Linda. Oh, I'm sorry if it's going quiet again. I apologize for that. Maybe I'm not talking. Is that better? I'm sorry, my microphone died and I didn't realize it. I apologize, gang. That's why I got two. Hey. Yeah, I apologize for that. My microphone's dead over here. But hey, here's his twin brother. So, okay, we're back cooking gas. So, so I'm using this little black stub of a pencil crayon, probably a Prismacolor, and I'm coming in and I'm chopping some of these darker lines in, but I'm going to keep going with a little bit more of the Conte throughout, but I don't want everything to smudge, and that's why I'm coming in here and, picking out some shapes and some forms with this that, ideally are going to stick around. So, okay, but back we come. So this is the burnt umber again. And I'm going to be a little more careful now about how I'm going about. Man of few words today. Question: can you seal the wood picture you did in charcoal? The wood picture. Oh yeah, no, that is definitely already sealed. You can get things like a spray fixative, a working fixative, or a finished fixative. And what it is, it's an aerosol can. And you take it outside, don't do this inside, and you spray, you mist over the surface of the object that you've been working on, whatever the surface might be, if it's wood, if it's paper, if it's, whatever else. And you might have to do it a number of times. That was chalk. The wood pieces are chalk. So I definitely had to seal that, I don't know, 5, 6 times, I think. I kept another little coat of spray on it, let that sit, and then come back out and a little coat of spray. And the reasoning behind a lot of that is so that, like you say, so it sets. It's not going to rub. It's not going to rub off. It's not going to, ideally fade. Or now it's still chalk, and the realization is that as it's still chalk, people still need to be careful around it, because it's you can only do it so well. Now there's probably other things that you can coat over it, etc., etc. But time is of the essence. Okay, so I'm taking this burnt umber and I'm picking and choosing some areas here, but I'm going to come back in with this Conte stick and start coming at some of these same areas. So the black line that I put in there before I put the Conte down really works as like an emphasis point. I suppose I better show, why don't I show the source image again? So I'm studying from Michelangelo, Sistine Chapel piece, Jonah. And I'm really going to want to do that fish very soon. Yeah, okay. Where are we at? Thumbs up and shared. Oh, thanks very much. Thanks for the thumbs up, everyone. Thank you, Linda. Okay, so here is our source image. This is the prophet Jonah. And so this is where we're at so far. And we're just building up some of those values in the face. And so it's pretty rough right now, but we're getting there. We're getting there. I want to do that fish too. And I've got this piece of, I got some colored chalk here. We got a couple there. Let's play with those. So, the fish. What did I just drop? A black pencil crayon. Okay. So, the fish in that image is, I'm going to move it up to here, and we're just going to play with that shape, the shape of it. And so we're coming at it the same way. We're finding these sort of touchstone lines, these little touch points of mapping out where things are in relationship to each other. And, studies are fun. And the reason that I find studies to be really fun is that you can get messy and you're playing with mediums that maybe you don't normally work with, and, allowing yourself to forego the preciousness of, I need this to be a finished picture. This is just in a sketchbook. So whatever we're doing is really for us and us alone, right? And we're not submitting this to somebody as, hey, here's the finished thing. You know, this is you working up some ideas. And if you're going to take, and I'm sorry for the bouncing camera, by the way, if you're going to take that somewhere, like if you're going to, oh, I've got to get the camera out of the way. You don't need to see my head. If you're going to work on a larger piece, sometimes these sketches, these mock-ups, really help you out so that when you go to do the larger piece, you've got a lot of stuff sort of sorted out. And it doesn't mean that you have to do, like if you're going to do a large acrylic painting, it doesn't mean you have to do your workups in acrylic. And if you do, it doesn't mean they have to be, you know, structurally finished kinds of images. You're playing and you're exploring and you're learning. So allow yourself that. Allow yourself to you know, have an adventure. You know, find ways of making marks that you might not normally do, and see what that does for you. Because it might open up something new, and it might encourage you to try a different methodology than you normally use. You know, I want to try using chalk more often because I like making messy marks as I'm working. You know, great, power to you. That's a fun idea. I need to go to town. I've convinced Laz to drive, so I continue this, and he drives. It's very good, Liz. I gotta be honest that we're back and forth to on a 45-minute drive. My wife, her mother lives in a smaller city, 45 minutes out of London. And so we'll drive out there, and ideally she drives us up there, and I scribble in my sketchbook, and I drive us home when it's dark and I can't see what's in my sketchbook anyways. So I get it. I completely get it. So I got to tighten this fish up, but we're starting to get our fish in place here. Okay, so I'm going to come in with this umber, and we'll start picking out a couple things here. Just tightening up some of our shapes. And yeah, see what this gives us. I'll show you why, just a sec. Because there's this sort of soft earth tone value in the fish. You know, because it's still in the same composition as the head, just in a different place from where I put it in our sketch. But, so we get some of these little color blends, and there's sort of a green in there. I wish I had a green to, well, I do have a green chalk, I'm just too lazy to get it out, let's be honest. But we're starting to define our fish a little bit better. I'm going to come in with this brown. Maybe this brown will help us. Oh, yeah. Oh, hello, brown. Why, hello, Chris. How are you? Mine needs to be raised a little higher. That blue. Where's the blue? There it is. And that gill is way over there. Well, we've got some interesting shapes over there. Starting to feel more like a fish now. Just making sure I'm not missing out on stuff there, folks. Sorry, sometimes I get so in my headspace here that I forget to, hey, say something witty. Oh boy, yeah. So there's our fish coming together. One of the beautiful things about the fish in the composition is that it has this really interesting shape, and it sort of does this. I'll show you right here. It does this mind frame. Yeah, okay. Hi, Chris and friends. Hi, Susanna. So it goes around the leg like so, and so then it moves over here. The eye sits similar to how we have it, and then we've got this body that comes up like so in the background and moves down, and a small little fin up top there, but it puts all of the weight of the body right here in the foreground of the head. So it sort of gives it this really strong sense of purpose, like it's sort of coming towards the Jonah character to eat him, to engulf him in. Because that is the part of the story, that he's been eaten by the whale. You know, and then there's a little cherubim behind. But let's see. Let's pull that source image down. Hey, Laz doing the driving. Nice. So here's our source again. Okay, so here's the fish that I've been enamored with. And starting to get that put down on here, on our surface here. I wish well, I'll just get a green chalk out in a second and come at this a little bit more. But so here's our face and how our face is started. And if we can develop that some more. I just was really compelled to draw that fish, let's be honest. And you know, I had to scratch that itch. I had to scratch it. Scratch. Okay, so so I know that there's a little bit of something here. Now I'm going to come back in with that eraser in a second and pull back again on some of the marks in the areas that I've put down. And that's the fun part of this pencil eraser, is that, you know, I'm calling it a pencil eraser anyways, but it lets me do things, you know, in the same sort of similar, your body's language there, your memory language of how you're using tools and how you're going about drawing and stuff like that. When you've got an eraser that's sort of like in a stick form or in a pencil-like form, it sort of feels like you're drawing with negative space now. Maybe it's just me, you know. Maybe Chris needs a holiday. But that's the sort of takeaway. That's the sort of energy I get using that eraser. Okay, so we've got, let's see, I'll move that up a little bit. There you go. So we've got some more defining values put in around our eye. I'll come in here, tighten this up. And maybe I'll even go so far as to put in some of the grays in that. We'll see. It seems so flat with just the singular value. So I'm just going through and softly blending that sepia tone throughout. I'll do so through here as well. And we'll cut the teeth back out again. Where are we at? Am I missing stuff? What's the theme today? So I just drawing large, practicing drawing large, I think, and you know, I'm working on a project right now that I'm doing large studies, and sometimes what I'm trying to get to is drawing large changes a way you might see the drawing process. Sometimes you get a lot more out of big marks, big movements, big gestures. You know, the more you're drawing small, oftentimes people can really repress themselves. Like people can really sort of hold themselves back from the possible marks they could be making if they just would allow themselves to explore the real estate of the page a little bit more. And so if you ever have the opportunity to draw larger, it can really afford you the chance to see form a different way, to see the marks that you're making in a different way, to be more bold, you know. And if you hold on to whatever it is that you're drawing and you worry about the particulars of, does it look good, is this a finished thing, and stuff like that, again, those are things that hold you back. So when you're drawing in a large sketchbook like this, whatever medium you're choosing to use, yeah, explore, play, have some fun with it, and see what that tells you, see what that gives you. All right, let's see. I got the blue, I got the green, I got chalk nearby someplace. Give me a second here, folks, and you got a piece of chalk pastel. I want to get some green into the mix here. So this is this box that I did the wood drawings with last week, maybe last week. And, you know, despite how much drawing I've done with these, I really haven't used much of them. So I got this light green out, and we're going to put that into our fish a little bit. The green is going to help us go, oh, it's a fish. I get it. Green, like water. Oh, I see now. Now I understand. And sometimes just poking these other values in throughout something can really change their shape and change their composition in a large way. Right? Don't think too much. Don't overthink the marks that you're putting down. Don't the colors that you're implementing, just put them in there, smash them in. And fun things about stuff like chalk is that, hey, you can smash them back out again. So there's some green in there. And yeah, I'm happy with that. So since I got this chalk out, let's come in our face here with some orange. So we're back down here. So just that one poke of orange in that cheek changes everything there. It really adds all kinds of volume of surface to it. So now we're starting to get a little more interesting shape on that face. Hopefully this is interesting for folks. I don't know. I'm back. We're on the road. Best cruising tunes? I'm not sure, Liz. How about don't play Steppenwolf? No, that's overdone. How about you Morrison Hotel? What you got to do is you got to steal a car with a stick shift and drive it to the edge of town, playing Morrison Hotel the whole way. Listen to the whole album once, and then burn the car. Then you're a Doors fan, man. So I'm going to come back in again, cut some shapes back out. Let's see, we'll get the eraser in there. I've always admired your art skills. More great illustrations. Thank you. Oh, that's very nice, you Alpha Omega. The beginning and the end. It's very nice of you to say that. Okay, so we've got our face coming together. Let's come in with this. Look at that hand. Woo! Yeah. Looks like I got damage. Anyways, let's come in with this eraser again and pick out a couple little spots. Pull them out of there. See if it lets me. Yeah, it's letting me. Ideally, I think I'm going to come in as I'm pulling this out here. I think I'm going to take a pink and come back in and hit some of these areas. Is this a little blunt? Bit of a blunt tool, blunt way to do this. Stephen Wolf Gold, looking for adventure. I'm not sure what that means. But yes. Okay, so I'm going to grab this pink color and let's put this into a couple spots. Something's buzzing. And see if that ties together some of our characters' features here. I think so. I think so. And then I come in with a white chalk in a second. And really pull back on those areas. But by softening that value with that intermediate, the intermediate color, in this case the pink, instead of just letting it go right into the orange and the browns, so that when I put the white in, maybe it's going to be more easily bearable, the transition. But you can also do stuff where you change little sections. Softening them up, like so. All right, let's do the white. Oh, this is a song. Stephen Wolf looking for adventure, born to be wild. Not on a chopper, though. Living on a prayer. There you go. Well, you're halfway there. Disappointed in myself for that one. I say you mix it up. If you're driving on a chopper, scare the locals and play I've got a brand new pair of roller skates. You got a brand new key. Just keep them guessing. That's what I'm saying. Keep the town guessing. What in the world are they playing? Or some really loud Taylor Swift. Again, keep them guessing. So this is the white that I'm coming in with now, and I'm picking back out those spots. Now, I used an eraser for those areas earlier, but now I'm just coming in hard with the white. Just to really stamp it in there. Hopefully it makes sense. Hopefully it looks like a thing. And we're just working on paper. Just a large sketchbook. See what I mean by it's a nice softer blend? It's like you got to work everything up to a point so that when you finally come in and those unifying factors like the white, pulling back out lots of information that might otherwise be lost in there, giving a little more form to the cheek, giving a little more emphasis around the eye to draw some attention to the fact that it's, they're looking up at something. Something up there is drawing their attention. And you can come in a couple of different little layers to it. Just keep adding little belts of it. So you can start to define teeth and things like that. And people are going to think we know what we're doing here. I keep brushing everything off too much. Okay, so our face is coming together now. So I'll pull up our reference image and let's see where we're getting to. Just give me a sec, I want to do a couple more. Gonna figure out the little ear here and get some of these raised surfaces to pop back up. There we go. Okay, let's take a look at our reference. Living on a Prayer. See, Lori, that's a Lori jam. She's a big Bon Jovi fan. Okay, so here's our reference. So there's our face as well as we can see it. Not a big image to work from, but that's okay. And here's what we're discovering from it. So we're learning all kinds of things in here about the shape of the neck and the face, right? And some of those forms there. And then here's our fish in our image, in our source image. And then get this out of the road. So there's our fish as we're putting it down on the paper. And yeah, you know, you try different things. I'll often switch mediums. Like I'll often, like on the first page example that I showed, where, give me a second to set this back. Okay, on the first page that I showed you, the first study that I've done, so I'll switch from drawing with one material to working in another. So this is graphite to acrylic, and some of what that enables us to do, I wasn't happy with the face, and it's too thin, and so coming at it again second time with the acrylic and really feeling out the form helped me to more clearly understand the source image there that I was working from, right? So it's the same kind of a thing with this guy, is that we're really trying to have an understanding of, you know, that overall composition. So here's the content. Okay, so I've got this graphite stick, so I'm going to move the fish out of the way, and we've got a little more space to put in some of the clothing. So let's get some of that into our study. So this is where we started from. This is the burnt umber that we were using to pick out those details in our composition. We still got this neck piece to finish off to connect this to the body, but am I still in frame? We're moving out of frame now. That's okay. We'll stop at this point here. And then there's this. I already put this piece of shoulder in here, but that moves down in that direction as well. And it really has this, it's a powerful sweep of the figure by everything moving that way. I like that a lot. You just see, when you look at it as lines, it really tells you that everything is being thrust, you know, is actually pulling down from what's coming from above. And, you know, I like that a lot. So let's find a little bit more of this shape in here with our shoulder. Very muscular. Everybody's very muscular as far as, it's hard, you know, they say that an artist tends to make characters to look like themselves, and Leonardo was a sculptor. Oh, sorry, Michelangelo was a sculptor. And so he's a pretty physically fit guy. And so a lot of his characters, male and female, are very muscular. He had a real ability for, like, you know, the Sibyl, that's the Libyan Sibyl that I showed you in that reference image for this Jonah depiction that we're studying. She's just jacked. Lady's got some muscles. And, you know. All right, so I'm going to come in with this. I'm going to hit the big chops of, where's that blender? So just getting in these large muscle shapes, these large muscle areas. And then there's a muscle here, and it folds around into there, comes off here. So really small amounts of value that I'm putting down here, and then the majority of it's just going to be blended. And then we'll work our way towards its result, but we're really finding the shapes. Did I say the paper size? 18 by 24. This is a foot and a half along the side, top and side, and then 24, 2 feet solid for the height. So, you know, it's a little one. I still got to finish that neck. How you doing, Chris? Get the neck done already. Goodness gracious, man. So I'll have to seal this as well. Messy, messy. All right. Yeah, working larger just sort of lets you see things in a different way. It really, I don't know, it takes away some of those restrictions we put on ourselves, those limitations when we're working on a smaller image by scaling things up a bit. So I'm going to come through and tie some of this together with the orange, soften up some of these values, give it a copper tone tan, I guess. And then we'll come through with that white and we'll cut stuff back out again. And let's get some of that in here as well. And then down into the neck. He's a copper tone man. Can I move that up a little bit more? Yeah, there you go. All right, so just finding where the muscles are emphasized there. And nose back in a little bit more. Yeah, time for the white. Where are we at? 118. Yeah, I hope this has been interesting to folks. All right. I know I go off on random tangents, so what is he working on today? But I'm still doing the one-page stories. I got XYZ projects going on as well. And time being of a factor, sometimes it helps me to do some of that other work in those other times. So you can see how putting that white in afterwards pulls those shapes out. Now you put all this ground in, you put all this primary value down, but with that white you can, you know, emphasize those areas, the surface of those muscles peeking up, right? And it reads a little more clearly now, the muscle in the shoulder. And there's a little raised area right here. A thing that helps is take a look at your own anatomy, you know, and this, well, I don't have those parts. Anyways, it doesn't matter male or female. Take a look at how light works on our skin and see the interesting little ways it informs us about, you know, put a light on in the washroom, say, and then stand beneath it because it's a nice controlled light source, and then look and see how light works off of your neckline, and look and see how it works off of your face, and if you can keep an eye on yourself as you're tilting your head hither and yon, to get a look at different angles of yourself, of your upper body, your shoulders, your face there. See how that light works with those. Put a hand up, diminish the light in some way. Cut the factor of the light some. So if you're holding it up, so it's covering your face, so you're seeing more shadow. I mean, that's really one of the best tools you can have to start to understand. Start to understand your own anatomy. The anatomy of others is really get a good sense of yourself. Rembrandt would do so many self-portraits in order to understand how light works on a person, in order to understand, how to define skin and light, That's why you got beautiful things like the night watch. A good sense of that. Caravaggio, his sense of light is so fantastic. I highly recommend you look up Caravaggio's work. The form and the subject matter, I'm not talking about this will be to your liking. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but the understanding that's there about light and about form and about how to put down volumes. That's almost a gift, how much you can pick up out of that. Like, people don't think to use other colors in skin. I like to throw green into people's faces and stuff. I like to do that a lot. The study I did in acrylic on the previous page is the colors that I used were a raw umber, a phthalocyanine purple, white, and lemon yellow. And yet you can still get all kinds of different value out of that. Some interesting, when you put those interesting hits of any of those values on their own without any blending technique, without any mixing, well, boy, does that ever sing the songs of the day. Does that Caravaggio live in London, Ontario? No. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. We have, London has one claim to fame for, an artist that has some measure of reputation internationally, and that's Jack Chambers. And the other one previous to him would have been Paul Peel, but not on such a large scale. Chambers, and then you got all kinds of guys that are nationally popular, Greg Corneau, Murray Fabreau, lots of brilliant artists here. But I don't know, Chambers was the first work that sold for $25,000 in Canada. So that was kind of and that was in the 60s, 70s. So that really kind of stood out. But yeah, the blending is terrific. Oh, thank you. Thanks very much, Liz. So there we go. So I'll pull our source thing back up. I'm trying to clean up the image a little bit because I'm messy. All right, so there's the start. And here's our source image from Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel paintings. And this is the Prophet Jonah. So we've done a bit on this piece here, and we've done a bit with this piece here, and then exploring, there's the fish, and there's this bit of a study of Jonah. So, trying to get a handle on, trying to get a bit of understanding on, how to do, this rendition. I'd really like to get into, if I'd done Jonah up higher on the page, I'd really like to get into the blue and the form in the body. But you know, we ran out of room. So yeah, you know, and I'm not saying I'm done because I might play with this a little bit more. Maybe you could invite him to go to one of Runciman's lives. He's almost coming to life. Oh, thanks, Linda. I would if we went back 200 some odd years in the past, and or more than that actually. I'm sorry. I think it's 400. Yeah. So this is today's study, and here is the last study, which is, I don't know, yesterday or the day before. Yesterday. I don't even know if I'm coming or going. So yeah, so we've got a couple of different studies under our belt now. That's acrylic, that's graphite, and this is Conte and chalk for the next one. So yeah, and I might fiddle around on this page a little bit and do a little bit of chopping in here with, I want to take another crack at that fish right here in acrylic, I think. But yeah, there we go. So there's today. Yeah, I think I'm gonna scan this and play with it a little bit digitally and see what I can make out of that. No matter what it is that we're working on, and for whatever purposes, like this is just doing some sketches, and yet at the same time, even if you're working on some sketches in this regard, you can still take these materials and scan them and you know, utilize them in some other kind of way, or take a photograph of them and put that into something. You know, take a photograph of it and then have that printed out onto your printer there, and then try to jelly plate it or something, and really allow yourself to whatever things that you're doing or whatever expressions that you're putting together, whether they're studies, whether they're your own unique work, and allow that to be facilitated across whatever it is that you're experimenting with, because it's yours. You've been playing with it. You've you know, even if you're doing something in relationship, a study to somebody else, you can still take that thing and carve out something more for you and for you. Each different layer, each different transition you might make from one application to another makes it a little bit more yours. You know, there's a local artist that who's recently passed away, a good friend, Tom Hilborn, and Tom had an affinity to intermix rockabilly musician images with drawings of Leonardo da Vinci. So there's all kinds of things that we can do with studies and different subject matter that we're exploring. Once you've finished one image and one static thing, that's great, but you can always take that and do something else with it. You know, we live in an age where it's far, far easier to replicate an image, whether scanning, whether through photography, or whether through whatever means, and you can implement that into some other different structure. So, cool beans. All right, that's it for me today. I think I'm gonna check out. I'm already checked out, yeah, I posted today's one page. I got tomorrow's one page ready to post. If you have suggestions for a one-page story you want to throw at me, please feel free to put it in the comments on this video, or in the comments on any of the social media posts that I do on Instagram and Facebook, and what's the other one? Patreon. And then on Patreon, I show the original art, the unfettered by the text, or the story implementation that I put onto the visual aspect of it. So there we go, folks. Thanks for coming by, everyone, says Linda. Thanks for listening today, Christopher. Hey, thanks everybody for coming out. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you, Linda, the moderator with the mostest, and to all of our friends in the chat and all of our friends in the balcony. Yeah, play with stuff. Play with stuff, have fun. These are dollar store chalks. You get 12 for $3 in Canadian money, so that's like a nickel American, and you know, maybe 65 cents in the British, 65 pence. I don't know, what do you call it in the British pound. So All right. Do you like small or this bigger better? I like both. Both have their advantages. When I'm inking, I tend to like to work smaller. When I'm, working in softer mark making tools like pastels, chalks, charcoal, things like that, bigger is beneficial because you can cover large areas in short amounts of time, but you can also pull those away just as readily. So try them out. Okay, folks, that's it for me today. I might be back tomorrow. We'll see. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, got some different things I'm working on. So I'll talk to you soon. In the meantime, have yourself a great day. Thanks very much, everybody. Bye for now.